Today, we're going to be taking a closer look at one of the most high-level strikers in the sport of MMA.
Over and out!
Let's not waste any time. Alex Pereira's stance is very relaxed. He stands tall, with his hands typically low, and his elbows flared. He keeps his feet at roughly shoulders distance wide, with his weight evenly distributed between both legs. When closing distance from this stance, Alex will use his lead hand as a probe. This became particularly useful in the lead hand battle with southpaw Khalil Roundtree, allowing him time to slide out of range of Khalil's left hand. Alongside closing distance and sliding out of range, Alex will also use his lead hand as a form of manipulation and a means to land his offense, but we'll take a closer look at that later when we look at his strikes and setups. Because of Alex's relaxed, upright and balanced stance, he doesn't have much tell on his shots, and it's hard for his opponents to read his intentions.
Yeah, it's crazy how good he is at that.
It takes like 2 or 3.
He doesn't move his hips. The way he does it is so beautiful because there's no telegraphing at all.
That leg kick, bro. You know what it is? You look at his foot. It's like a hammer, like the back of a hammer, or a hammer like a ball pen. It is, because that's what he kicks you with as well.
Yeah, but he wraps behind the calf, on the face of the little muscle on the calf.
Okay.
So the leg is almost kicking straight. He turns. It's a hip, but not circular.
Boom.
Yes.
Just whip it.
Yeah, he lunges and pinch.
I see. That's
a
how
little.
You scoop it almost.
Quase você traz, né?
You scoop it.
Doing the way that he do, even when the guy turns the shin, he still snugs behind the calf.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember.
Ele falou, eu lembro.
There's that. That one hurt him. That one hurt him. You saw him buckle with that low kick.
It's also worth mentioning that due to Alex's stance, his hands are in a much more natural position to defend takedowns. Because of Alex's low hands, he naturally relies on his head movement to get out of the way of strikes. Alongside his head movement, Alex will also use his feet to get out of the way of his opponent's strikes, and when reacting to straight shots, he has a tendency to back up in a straight line. Backing up in a straight line can be considered a bad habit. You give up the centre of the octagon and give your opponent an opportunity to push you to the cage. However, this isn't a major concern for Alex, as opponents will rarely take the opportunity to pressure him and follow him out to the cage, as they're aware of his power and dangerous countering ability. The move is simple but effective. Worst case scenario, Alex momentarily gives up ground in the octagon and it leads to a reset. Best case scenario, his opponent gets overconfident and gets walked onto a big counter shot. Either way works for Alex. The only drawback of this move comes down to whether Alex can move his feet in time. As fighters that are quick to the punch have had previous success landing their 1-2s down the middle.
Kick from the right leg. Oh!
Big left hand by Khalil.
Khalil is very fast.
Never been 25 minutes in MMA.
Oh, nice right hand by
Nice
Izzy.
right hand by Izzy.
Alex Pereira's left hook is powerful, fast and accurate. The consequences when it lands are absolutely devastating. Alex has multiple ways of setting it up. One such way is by manipulating his opponent's defence. Jamal Hill's mistake wasn't necessarily that he engaged in the lead hand battle, but rather that he threw a strike from that position whilst not remaining defensively responsible in front of one of the best counterpunchers in all of MMA. Israel Adesanya also played the lead hand battle with Alex, but unlike Jamal Hill, Adesanya only really used it as a means of defence and to circle back to the centre of the octagon, opposed to setting his feet, throwing a strike and risking getting countered. The Southpaw v Orthodox lead hand battle was a common theme in their first fight and was the reason why Adesanya was able to take away the left hook of Pereira for the first 4 rounds of the fight. And controlling the channel of the left hook is one of the main reasons why Adesanya would switch to Southpaw when he found himself backed up against the cage. And as I'm kind of on this topic, I thought I might as well mention that I'm going to be doing a breakdown of this fight soon. So if you guys are new, make sure you subscribe, because this is probably one of my favourite fights ever. I feel like it's one of the most technical fights, technical striking fights that we've ever seen in the UFC, so make sure you guys subscribe and stick around for this one. Another way that Alex sets up his left hook is by changing levels, like in his fight with Sean Strickland. The stab jab to the body is probably one of the most underutilised strikes in MMA, but Alex doesn't let it go to waste.
That jab is powerful too.
That's one of his better strikes that nobody talks about. He throws that jab to the body, and then when your hands start to drop is when he comes over the top with that left hook.
And that's what he did with Strickland.
Alex varies his strikes very well, and one that often catches opponents off guard is his flying knee. Alex will even sometimes start a round off fast to try and catch his opponent off guard. Alex will sometimes use distance deception, using his feet to try and catch his opponent out. Another way Alex remains unpredictable is by mixing up the pacing of his strikes. In this instance, he throws the high kick immediately after the low kick. In this second instance, he throws the stab jab to the body, waits a brief moment, and then throws the low kick. If an opponent doesn't have an answer for a particular set of strikes, Alex will go back to it more than once.
He is trying to get closer now. He's very locked in.
How defensively sound Pereira is as well.
A clear sign of Pereira's high fight IQ. Pereira is 6'4", has a 79-inch reach, and walks around at roughly 230 pounds.
He's a heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's a f***ing heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's a heavyweight. He's like, look, if he had a little bit of fat on him, he's a heavyweight.
There's a night and day difference between Pereira at 185 and 205. He looks much healthier making the weight, and any concerns regarding his durability and chin were answered when he stepped in the cage with real 205ers who have legitimate punching power, like Yuri Prohaska, Jamal Hill, and Jan Blachowicz. The Blachowicz fight in particular showed Alex's durability, as he had to overcome a lot of grappling exchanges early on in the fight, and still came back in the third round to outwork Blachowicz and secure a split decision victory. Alex has a natural ability to outlast his opponents.
Each one of those, like, getting hit in the head with a telephone pole.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Alex will significantly increase the pace of a fight and drown out his opponent if he senses any sort of weakness. It's what makes him so dangerous in the championship rounds, because even if he's down on the scorecards, he can change it all in the blink of an eye. When it comes to Alex Pereira's physical attributes, And I know it might sound a bit cliche, but this is one of those cases where it's just a fighter being built different. Alex only started kickboxing at the age of 21, but even then had an impressive amateur career, going 25-3 with 25 knockouts. And although there isn't much footage of Alex in the amateurs, from the footage that there is on YouTube, it seems to be that he was calling guys with his left hook, even way back then, in bigger gloves. And of course, this was long before he had the experience that he has now, as a kickboxing and MMA world champion. Alex Pereira's experience is definitely one of the main reasons that he's so hard to beat. In kickboxing, Alex became Glory's first and only ever double champion. Alex was sharing the ring with some of the greatest kickboxers in the world, and when you put it that way, there probably isn't much that he hasn't seen when it comes to the striking game, which is why he's able to impose his will in the striking in the UFC, and has once again captured belts across 2 weight divisions, putting together what has so far been a Hall of Fame worthy career. Alex is also a workhorse when it comes to training in the gym, commonly known for travelling to different gyms and getting sparring in with Olympic level boxers and heavyweights. It seems that despite being one of the best strikers on the planet, Alex is still a student of the game, trying to learn as much as he can from whoever he can, and then of course has Glover Teixeira in his corner, a man who has been champion himself and knows what it's like to fight at the highest level. Because Alex is still fairly new to MMA, Glover has played a huge role in helping him get up to speed with his grappling. And that grappling might come into play when he fights Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 313. I'm finishing up recording this video a day before the fight, so in my timeline it hasn't happened yet. And honestly, I think Magomed Ankalaev is a tough matchup for Alex Pereira. As we mentioned earlier, speed kills, and fighters that are quick to the punch have had success against Alex in the past. Ankalaev is quick, he does have a good 1-2 down the middle. I don't think him being a southpaw is as big of a deal as some people are making it out to be, but ultimately, Ankalaev does have a path to victory. Of course, the big X factor is the grappling, and when it comes to that, I think Magomed Ankalaev probably is the best grappler that Alex Pereira has ever faced. Man, it's a 50-50 fight in my opinion, but I do give the edge to Pereira. Even at 37 years old, I think Pereira is still improving. He's still fairly new to MMA for being a 2 weight division champion, you know? And so I'm banking on him actually being better than he has been previously. So that's my prediction. For those of you who are early to this video, get in the comments, tell me your prediction, who do you think's going to win? Also, while you're at it, let me know if there's anything else you spotted about Alex's style that I didn't mention. I'd be really interested to see what you guys have to say. As always, like the video if you enjoyed or learned something new. Subscribe if you're new. I'm going to put a couple of videos up on screen that I think you guys are going to enjoy.